I'm your host, Mike Sullivan, and joining me today is my co-host and super PAX brother, Adam Schweibens. And together we are bringing you PAX Prime Unpacked, a show about all PAX West in Seattle, Washington, and how to make the most out of your convention-going experience based on our many years of attending the conference. We have a ton of best practices to share, good things to know, and how to make the most out of the best gaming convention in the US. If this is your first PAX experience, or if you are just getting hyped for this year's convention, follow along with our videos as we dive into everything PAX Prime.
So today's video is all about getting around Seattle. So how to get to the convention, how to get to some of the areas nearby, some of the modes of transportation, things to be considerate of like parking and public transportation, ride sharing options, all those kinds of things. So we're going to just talk through some of our own experiences with that, share with you some of the information that we know about the different kinds of transportation options that are available in the area, and go from there.
Oh man, I think we have some awesome tips. I really do. I think the first thing we should start out with is transportation from the airport. Now, I know everyone, or not everyone, comes from the airport, but for us specifically, we have a few options when leaving the airport and traveling to downtown Seattle, which is approximately, I would say, 45 minutes-ish, no matter which transit option you use. But we were told in years past that the best option, which I think we agree with, is to take the Seattle Light Rail. It is a super fast, above ground tram that just takes you from point A to point B at a very low cost. If I recall, I think it costs approximately $3-ish one way to ride the tram. And again, it takes probably about 45 minutes or so. But compared to some of the other options like Uber, Lyft, taxi, you're going to save a lot of money.
Yeah, we've looked into some of those options before where we've considered maybe, if we were to Uber, maybe we could get to the airport a little bit faster, stay at the convention a little bit longer in those years where we've tried to, we've had a flight in the same day as the closing ceremonies. But we have kind of seen that based on current traffic conditions and things, it's not always easy to predict how long it's going to take by vehicle, where it's a lot easier to kind of know based on a preset train schedule and a reliable public transportation system, as we would see from there.
Yeah, the trams are so frequent that it's easy to pick one up on the whim. And besides meeting some interesting characters on the tram itself, it's just a great experience for a very low cost. So that's what my big recommendation would be, to save that money and take that tram. I don't think you'll regret it.
We've generally been able to have seats every time that we've ridden on that as well, with the exception of if you happen to just get there at a time when there's a lot of people that are on there, you might have to stand for a little bit before a seat becomes available. There are going to be people coming on and off in bikes with things like that, but just try and be a little bit, respectful of that. And then if you have any luggage that's with you, just be kind of prepared to kind of hug or stay close to that. There are spots where you can actually kind of put your bag if you can find a spot nearby. But just know that that's not always available depending upon how many other people, especially, are coming from the airport and then trying to get downtown. Now, just to kind of segue in with us talking about the light rail system, is that Seattle actually has a really well thought out public transportation system, and it's all pretty unified. The light rail system is the same system that they use for their buses and things like their monorail system, where it's all handled under what they have is called an Orca card, which is like a rechargeable public transit card that you can use to buy one-way tickets or day passes, which are currently $6, cover your ability to transfer and hop onto any of the public transit options for that $6 flat rate. So even if you don't use that every day, if you need to hop on the light rail and then connect to a bus or one of the other trains, you're just going to pay that one flat rate for that day, which is pretty good.
Yeah, cost effective, that's for sure. Now, I would say another fun fact or a big tip that we have that we discovered over the years going to the convention is the scooter system that they have there. So you have quite a few options when you're in the heart of downtown Seattle to get around. But I think our favorite by far is to ride electric scooters or electric bikes by Lyft, Bird, Lime. So there's a lot of different company options, and if you purchase the right plan, you actually can save a lot of money on that too. So I think in past years we've spent anywhere from $20 to $40 for a ticket that lasts the entire stay that we're there, unlimited miles, if I recall. Maybe not unlimited, but enough to get you around for your entire trip. So that's one thing to take note on.
Yeah, so like Mike was saying, there are bikes and scooters on almost every corner by a few of the different companies that offer those rental services. Typically, you just would download their app, sign in. If it's one of your first time using them, they might have kind of like a training mode or something that you go through the first time that you use it. But once you get through there and the training wheels are off, then it's such a great way to be able to get around and just really be aware. They don't always put it right front and center, but typically you can pay per ride where you're paying for the amount of time that you use the vehicle, or you can pay for a 5-day pass or 4-day pass, and it's just a bank of time that they give you that you can use on and off on as many different types of the vehicles under that same brand as possible. So for instance, like we've used Lime a lot of the time when we've been there, and we just buy a bank of time right when we get there. It's typically like we'll do 2 or 3 hours or so, more than enough time to get us through the 4 days of the convention. And it's just a matter of hopping on, grabbing one, and getting where we're going. The app is really good at being able to show you where there are bikes and scooters nearby to be able to get on and go. And so it's just really a kind of a killer transportation option that's way cheaper than anything else that we've experienced for being able to get around.
Yeah, for sure. A good thing about Seattle, too, is they have a lot of designated bike lanes that a lot of electric bike users and electric scooter users use. A lot of them are one way, so you kind of got to keep an eye out for that. Make sure you're going in the right direction. And there are a lot of office buildings and pedestrians in that immediate downtown convention center area. So keep an eye on where you're going, obviously, to keep yourself safe and others around you safe. But really cool option, very cost effective, very convenient, and just a great way to get around overall.
Yeah, and we've never really had any kind of, major run-ins or anything, but you will see a lot of people are cruising around on the sidewalks and things. But, I find the safest and easiest way to navigate is to familiarize yourself a little bit with the roads, the road directions, and then which specific roads do have those designated bike lanes. Not only for safety and that benefit, but then also to be able to get from point A to point B really quickly. Because when you're in one of those lanes and you're heading the right direction, you can really be cruising even a lot of times faster than the cars are able to be driving, during those busy times of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. So great option. Keep an eye out for those special deals within each of those companies' apps. And I encourage you to purchase one of those. What else? So knowing your way around Seattle can be a lot because there's just so many streets that are one way or that dead end in some cases. So I would recommend using like a Google Maps or an Apple Maps to know your way around. There is one street we wanted to call out, and it basically connects the Summit Convention Center to the Arch Buildings Convention Center, and it's 9th Avenue. And on that avenue, it's really cool because they shut it down for the convention, and that's where all your food trucks are going to live. There's also some like party scenes there. I know Red Bull shows up there a lot and puts on some type of challenge where you can get awards, free Red Bull. So keep an eye out for that street as well. That's one I would highly recommend you travel in between the convention centers.
Yeah, it's a really great option for being able to grab a bite. But one thing to keep in mind is that, especially around those kind of normal meal times, the lines can get pretty long for some of those, food trucks and food truck options. The pricing usually tends to be pretty good. And then there's also, even just along a lot of the other streets in the area, a lot of kind of like hot dog carts and local food vendors and stuff that are offering food for a really good price. That's really tasty and it's kind of made right there for you. And we've had some, good experience with that. Now, of course, there's also normal ride sharing options that you have in a big city like Uber and Lyft. You just have to really watch out for, you're going to be there during a convention. And a lot of times when you're going to be traveling is also the same time that a lot of other people are. right there during the opening hours of the convention, and then also kind of in the evening hours as you get near dinner, it's just things are starting to wind down. You can get that hit with that surge pricing. It makes those other options really expensive. So if you're going to rely on some of those ride sharing services, then maybe just think about planning your trip to where maybe you go a little bit earlier and grab breakfast in the area, or plan on staying a little bit later than other folks and stuff if you want to avoid some of those often, really, expensive surge pricing times that can hit you.
Yeah, yeah. I think the final thing that is obvious is that you can just walk around the city. Now, the very first year I went to PAX West, I don't think I took scooters at all, which is weird because I've always been a scooter rider, an electric scooter rider at previous PAX conventions in different cities. But everything in the downtown Pikes Market area, the convention area itself, there's so much to do. You could actually do enough to fill your entire trip in the immediate convention area. So walking is an option. Now, I think the one call that we want to make is that Seattle is very hilly. There's a lot of uphill in some cases, very steep inclines in some cases. So be prepared for that.
So yeah, Seattle feels like a city where what you're going to remember is the uphill walking. So when you think back in it, it just feels like you're always walking uphill. And that is because the streets are really steep, especially if you do kind of make your way down to Pike's Place in the market area, and there's a lot of elevation on that way back. So just be aware of that if you're somebody who gets tired walking or whatever, that there is a lot of incline in as far as that's concerned.
Okay, the last thing we want to talk about is parking. So Adam and I actually don't have a vehicle at all for this trip. So we're kind of speaking off of the resources that we have found online. Parking can be something that you can pre-purchase in advance. If you go to west.packsite.com, there is a list of parking spaces and their allocated cost. I believe it's anywhere from like $7 to $15 to park per day.
Which really isn't that bad considering it's right in the middle of a downtown city center. That's actually pretty reasonable. But I think the reason that they're able to get those pricing is the same as they do with the hotels, where they buy like a block of parking spaces either in the convention center or those areas before, and those do sell out. So if you go on the site even right now, you can see some parking spots, sites that say, hey, there's only 2 spots left or whatever. So don't wait too long to figure out your parking. Oh my God, do not wait until the day of to get there and just decide like, oh, we'll just figure out parking when we get there. No. Reserve your parking ahead of time. Know where you're going to go. Save yourself a lot of the trouble that you can find anytime you try and go, downtown into a city and find parking. That could be a really big challenge. And so if you already have something kind of reserved and lined up, you'll save yourself a huge headache and definitely for sure take advantage of a lot better pricing. So with that being said, thanks so much for watching. And if you are interested in seeing more of our PAX related videos, please like and subscribe to this. We've got a lot more information that's going to be coming down about everything PAX.
And you can check out all my other channels related to gaming news, reviews, nostalgia, and more. You can find me at all the socials at Sir Uber Noob Poner. Adam, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Well, I know one of the things that we wanted to do is just take a second to call out one of our other fellow PAXers from PAX East, who has actually made a lot of content videos very similar to what we're trying to do here for the attendees of that particular convention. And we saw just how great that content was and how many people find that to be really valuable. And we wanted to make something very similar for PAX West. So, Mike, do you want to share some information about our friend over there?
She goes by Pyra. She has a longer handle, which I'll tag everything down below for you to go visit her channel. She's awesome. Has so many good tips and tricks. Pre-PAX, during PAX, and post-PAX East content. So go check out her channel. And thanks for all these ideas, Pyra. All right, well, that's it for this episode of PAX Prime Unpacked. We'll see you all at PAX later this year.
Bye
friends.